Welcome to this podcast contextualising the visit for the Instructional Rounds on Thursday, March 18, 2010 at Coburg Senior High School. Our students come from local area and some distance away, from as far away as Craigieburn in the north and Melton, round to Williamstown and Newport in the west, then through to places like Chadstone, and then Glen Huntly, Ivanhoe, and then back into sort of Coburg. So some students travel 2.5 hours each way per day. Others, of course, live across the road. There are 16 guiding principles that inform our policies and practices, and they're in no particular order, but we have been through a process of validating these guiding principles, and they help keep us on the money in terms of the innovation and the connections that we have with our students. This is a difficult slide to read, and we've actually reformatted this, but we have what we call our ALFAL, Authentic Learning Framework, and it draws in the principles of learning, authentic assessment, an instructional intellectual framework that looks about how in fact we go about the process of learning and teaching, and then elements of particular learning design that focus on habits of mind, multiple intelligences, Bloom's taxonomy, both the old, the revised and the digital form of Bloom's taxonomy, and other strategies such as the thinking hats and the thinker's tools to enable us to make sure there is clarity in the learning that we create. Enrolment for the school commences online, and an online application has 2 levels, and this is followed by an interview. And then once students have been accepted, we actually put them through a barrage of tests. There's a 2-hour APTSE diagnostic that has been designed by the Australian Council of Educational Research. Plus we do the standard PATA and a number of numeracy tests that we've created ourselves. When we look at the things we ask in the expression of interest, here's a quick screenshot from part of the expression of interest online. And it kind of commences with basic details, etc. But tell us about subjects you like, 3 of them, and why, and tell us about 2 you don't like and why. What does the student themselves think? The essential strategies to create improvement for them, the skills that they've developed, what their careers are, etc. And we even ask them a question about musical instruments, and the question runs along the lines of, if you play a musical instrument, what is it and why? But also, if you don't play an instrument but you would like to, tell us about it. The Mayer key competencies are certainly part of the self-assessment that goes on. There's a fair bit of self-assessment in the E-form. We also ask them to do a multiple intelligence test that's under the learning efficiency category. Off to a website, do a simple snapshot, bring back the data. It just helps form a level of discussion that occurs when we bring students in with their parent guardian to talk about their learning pathways. At Coburg Senior, commitments that are made at the interview are very important, and they're shared, so the information that we get in the enrolment process then gets transferred through to the mentor teacher. It does help with us developing a learning plan for that student, and we try and make sure that we get a real sense of the student and where they're going. Ultimately, for our students, we want them to be technoed and tooled. So these 4 simple dot points ring true in terms of what we're trying to do as a general overview. Digital resource creation. This slide is actually trying to indicate, if I can actually get the slide up the right way, trying to indicate that there are some key skill sets that come about through, in fact, working in the digital environment, and if we offered these skill sets up to an employer, we know that they'd go, thanks very much, I'd love an employee that has this skill set. Yes, we still work with pen and paper, but creating a whole range of digital resources, whether it's an iMovie or GarageBand or Final Cut or Comic Life or Keynote, doesn't matter what it is. The question is a resource that can be created and then shared and then revised and ultimately improved. When we look at some of the other key elements about what we do in our learning environment, so we're creating digital resources, it helps foster co-learnership between the students themselves and staff and students. Yes, staff know lots, but so also do students, and there's this notion of it's okay not to know. We ask students to work in an independent level but also in a collaborative mode as well. There has to be intellectual challenge, academic rigour if you like as well. The learner is placed at the centre in the school, and in that digital resource creation we're allowing them to be able to demonstrate their learning in new and in different ways, and often engaging ways. It actually creates greater flexibility, and ultimately it's about, can we share the learning, so that in fact wikis and blogs and places where we can actually share the resources are up and available, and people can go, that's really, I didn't know so and so knew so much about that. Or it's a case of saying, wow, that's really good, but gee, I can make a better one. And that's why in fact social networking is so powerful in the community of the young today. StudyWiz is our learning management system, so that controls all our messaging. Our communication with parents is mostly done via StudyWiz. You'd also see in the bottom right hand side of the slide the latest resources. So as a parent, as I'm logged on here as Don Collins' parent, my daughter Ellen, at the school, I can actually see the resources that have been loaded up for her and look at them myself and have a conversation about the work that she's doing. In terms of reports and assessment, well, it's all online here at Coburg Senior, so in fact as it happens in real time it goes up. Similarly, we didn't really need to print a report last year. Our parents were able to download it and print those reports themselves from our secure portal that parents and students and staff can all get to. It works in exactly the same way as StudyWiz. So just as an example, this is Beck's blog, and it's information for geography, economics, international politics and digital landscapes. And students are actually quite accustomed to going to blogs to find the information. Here's another blog, it's for maths, revision on statistics. Our data sets are fairly strong. Here is the staff opinion survey and the parent opinion survey from 2009. As people know, the object is to be over on the right hand side. Here it is for 2009 with the cumulative responses. So you'll see the Year 12s have 3 lines because they've been in the school for 3 years. Year 11s have 2 lines, and then Year 10s. Interestingly, that the student motivation and confidence dropped for the Year 11s, which I actually don't have too much of an issue with, because suddenly they're being challenged at a greater level. And of course, Year 11s, they can go south or west or east rather than going north, perhaps, in terms of their approach and their capacity to stay focused. It all sort of gets better, but obviously on a whole lot of key elements within the data set, there is very strong and positive responses from both our students, our staff and parents. So we come to our problem of practice. So what we've tried to do is provide the context and then what we're really after for us. So Coburg Senior is an open plan, technology-rich workplace where students and teachers together are focused on the skills and knowledge essential for academic success. The learning is characterised by flexible and purposeful grouping and intellectual and academic rigour. The question for you guys is this evident in what the students and teachers say and do? Good luck with your mission.